Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree. But whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Like, subscribe. I struggled with how to begin this episode or this whatever. I I know that there are a lot of sports out there, and it's been a great weekend, and um, I haven't given you an episode since midweek last week, and there'll be a lot of time to talk sports. But if you're looking for a sports take or hot take today, unfortunately, you're in the wrong place. What I will tell you about is when I was in Chicago, and stay with me. When I was in Chicago, I had this really big crush on Whitney Houston. Um, I was very young in Chicago, very young in a place that is dangerous to be very young when you don't have a parental structure, if you will, in place that can keep you safe. When a lot of times you feel like it's just kind of you out there. Some of the stuff that I was able to do as a really, really young person, we're talking like before 10 years old. Some of the stuff I was able to do because I didn't have any supervision at that time. Some of the stuff that I was able to avoid because there was a higher power on my side is amazing. I was in love with Whitney Houston, and last night I sat back and watched the movie The Bodyguard again, and Whitney Houston is just so beautiful. Like, she was really beautiful and really talented. I'm a little bit skeptical about this new biopic they have coming out. Number one, because in my opinion, the young lady who is beautiful in her own right just is not Whitney Houston to me. She's not Whitney Houston level beautiful. And I don't want people to think about the Whitney, the end of the run Whitney. I want you to think about that bodyguard Whitney, top of her game Whitney, number one woman in the world of music, and then crossing over into film Whitney. That's who I was in love with. And there was an impersonator. There was a Whitney Houston impersonator who would come past where I stayed at because the guy that was there DJ'd and he would like make her mixes or whatever. And so like she would come by. And I remember being so enamored with her, like to the point where she knew it. Everybody knew it. And I couldn't resist being. I've always been that way. If I've been attracted to you as a person, whether it was like physically, romantically, or just like attracted to your energy as a person, guy, girl, I'm gonna be around you. Like, I'm gonna make time to be around. When you're around, I'm at least gonna come and check in on you. And it's not a thirst. It's just more of, I like what I like. I'm not afraid to say what I like. And so like she wrote me she gave me like a headshot and wrote on it, to Gene, with love, the real Whitney. And I remember that from years ago. There was a lot of stories from Chicago. Like I said, that was a crazy time. And the fact that my brother and I were able to come out of that time unscathed is a miracle within itself. One of the reasons that we were able to come out of there unscathed, one of the big reasons is that we had a friend. And really more specifically, my brother Shimeon had a friend. And this kid was large, like physically big. He was larger than life to me because he was so big. I had never seen anyone like in person that was that big. And played football. And I remember Shimeon used to spend a lot of time with him. And like my brother's a guy who, you know, if he likes you, he's going to spend time with you. We're very similar in that vein. Like if we like you, if we like your spirit, if we like your demeanor, then we're going to be around you. And my brother was around him all the time. Would stay at his house, would just disappear for a couple of days because he was down at McNutt's house. And I think to a large extent, his influence being like an older brother, helped my brother stay out of trouble, helped me stay out of trouble. And then we moved away, and Big Nutt, he continued. That's what they called him. They called him Big Nutt. His name was Antoine McNutt, and they called him Big Nutt. He continued on, and he did his thing, and went on to play college ball, and continue on with his life. And my brother never lost connection. Like always looked to see what was going on, kept tabs on him. When we became adults and we became more financially stable, he would go and visit, and then Big Nutt came down to Florida and brought his entire family down, and him and his beautiful wife Kimberly, and and his children, beautiful family. And he came down, and I remember we went to go see him, and it was different. Like the energy had changed, because now he wasn't like a big brother anymore, and he didn't look at me like a little brother. He looked at me like an equal, like a confidant, like someone you could really have legitimate conversations with and value the opinion of the person that you're asking questions to. We formed a different bond on an intellectual level, because he was in public speaking and coaching, life coaching, mentoring, and I was essentially in a similar space with public speaking and with mentoring and with coaching on the field. And he has a sports background, so a lot of his coaching had to do with, you know, I remember talking to him about stuff, and he would say, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And we would have a great exchange, a great dialogue. You can't have those types of dialogues with everybody. Not everybody's built for that level of dialogue, to be able to have an opinion, stand on that opinion, but then equally value someone else's opinion. Usually, when that happens, it ends up in an argument, because one person has an opinion that is contrary to the other, and they both want to be right so bad that it becomes yelling and screaming and animosity. None of that. Not once did I ever feel like Big Nutt was asking me to talk just for the sake of talking. Like he just wanted me to talk and get what I had to say out the way, so then he could say what he wanted to say. And he told me, hey, you know, I've been following you, I've been looking in on your stuff, and I had never even known. But he was one of the driving forces behind me continuing to have my voice in this space. And every morning when I would do a Talk Spicy, at some point I would see a "I'm listening" coach pop up on a comment. And that was Antoine letting me know, hey, I'm listening. I'm supporting, but I'm listening. See, like it's hard enough to get people to support you, like legitimately support, right? Like we see it all the time on social media. Some of us have thousands of friends on Facebook or followers on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram. But how many supporters do we have? People who will buy something because you tell them to buy it to support you, will support and buy your own things, will donate to causes that you think are great. Like how many of your thousands of friends, followers, whatever, how many of them are actually supporters? Big Nutt was a supporter. He was a supporter. He was listening. He wanted to hear what I had to say because he valued the words. I was able to help him, and every day I started to watch his morning moments. I helped him get his his reels, TikTok stuff. I told him, hey, it's value in this. And he took it and ran with it. And his morning moments every day, or his moments, I listened to him. Little minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, whatever it might be, clippets. But I listened because he was dropping gems, he was dropping jewels. Not all of it applied to me right now. But I remember there was stuff that he told us when we were kids. He told me when we were kids that I didn't value until later on because it just wasn't in my world at that time. But I listened because I knew that there might be times where this is important. And I knew that he was coming from somewhere genuine. See, the cool thing about Twan is that he never gave you anything fake or contrived. Everything that he ever said to you was real. It was his real legitimate thoughts without any concern about whether you liked it. He wasn't trying to appease you. This man was larger than his frame. And he was 6'5", all of 6'5", 6'6", all of 300 plus pounds. He was a large man. So to have a persona and to have a presence that's bigger than you are in that respect is phenomenal. And last week, while sitting in class, getting ready to teach a class, my brother called me and told me that Twan had passed. That he was here having a conversation, and then he was gone. That day he had liked my Talk Spicy podcast. That day, he told me he was listening. And that day was the last day of his life. I don't know what any of you have going on in your lives. I don't know if you have friends that make you feel valued. Like Antoine made me feel valued, made my brother feel valued, made his wife, his kids, and thousands upon thousands of other people feel valued. I don't know if you have someone like that in your life, but I pray you do. I pray you have somebody in your life that's willing to tell you when you're screwing up, that's willing to tell you, hey, you got to make some changes, you got to do some things better, that supports you and doesn't just follow you, but supports you. I hope and I pray for each one of you out there that you have someone that touches you, that when you hear about their passing, it stops your world, and it takes you a few days to kind of recalibrate life. But make no mistake about it. Big Nutt was about life. Antoine McNutt was about life. And although his race is over, our race is still going. And if we were gone and he was here, he would mourn us, he would celebrate us, but he would continue to live life in honor of. And so that's what I'm going to do. That's what my brother's going to do. I know. I don't mind speaking for him. That's what Kim and the kids are going to do. They're going to continue to live life in honor of. But that doesn't mean it's not hard. And that doesn't mean that it's not sad. And that doesn't mean you don't feel something because you're moving on with life. It just means that we understand that life is short. Earlier this year, when my grandmother passed, I came on here and I said, you know, you don't realize that death is all around you. As I grew up, when I was growing up, the only type of death I really knew was death that came at the hands of others by unfortunate means, car accidents, but murders really. And then as you get older, you start to see death in more places. Like, hey, this person just got old and passed away. Or this person got sick. This person had a disease. This person had this. But as I've gotten to this age and over the last few years, I've really started to see all of the angles of death. And it feels so close. It feels so imminent. Every day we mourn somebody, whether it's someone close or someone not as close. Every day we say RIP. Every day we say rest in heaven. Every day we say rest in power. Like, as a kid, I don't think we even notice it as much because we only really see one type of death. But as an adult, man, as you get into those middle ages, that's really weird for me to sound middle-aged, but I guess that's right. When we get into those ages, you just start to notice it everywhere. So we're going to continue to live. We're going to continue to go. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to strive to make our dreams reality, to make others' dreams reality, to help where we can, to make this world a better place, to be everything to others that Antoine McNutt was to us. Antoine, rest in peace. I know that you've done everything that you were required to do here. To his wife Kim and his kids, my heartfelt condolences. And if there's anything any of you ever need, never hesitate. Never hesitate. You've got a brother for life, and it doesn't end with Antoine's death. To my brother Shimeon, who I know is really affected by this, you know what it is. It's get busy living. It's get busy living. It's continuing to strive for health, strive for wealth, strive for the ability to help others and be selfless, as you've done your entire life and you'll continue to do. I love you. I love everybody. And again, like, sometimes things are bigger than sports. And today was one of those days. I pray I don't have to have a lot of these, but make no mistake, if there is, I will. If there is, I will. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. I do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you join me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Until next time, peace.